I ended up flying to Dubai with the client to film content. The year before, I went with family on a family trip, and then now next year I'm flying for business. We were sitting at like a very comfortable like 4K per month, and that was for me was like a lot. And then you just 4x it, and then now we're doing 15 to 16K, and I was just like, hold on, like let's let's. I don't think this is possible, but if I can do it, whoever's watching this, you can do 10x what I'm doing. And let me just be an example that if you take the leap of faith, you can get there. It's not about being better than each other, but like I can tell you this: it's whoever's the hungriest, you'll get it.
Mate, good to have you, bro. Tell the audience, mate, who are you and what do you do?
Jack, thanks for having me on. My name is Shadrach. I am from Real Social Co, social media marketing biz here in Brisbane. I've been at this for 2 years now, and specifically focusing in organic content on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, I've just been in socials for a while, just capturing content, but it wasn't until around a year ago I saw that there was potential in actually getting paid for it and making money off it. So we had to start going down that route. And luckily enough for me, I found the boys at a really important stage in my journey when it comes to this business. And yeah, we're just here now working with clients, doing this.
Fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah. Mate, I love that. You're absolutely killing it, bro. You're fucking killing it in the game.
Trying.
Mate, tell me about the transformation. Tell me. I want to hear all about it, bro.
So obviously coming into this, I had the ability, I knew how to make things look good, and I actually had a lot of experience with social media and like, getting the attention, getting the views, getting the followers, growing accounts organically. But just the business side, I lacked a lot of understanding. I just never done anything like that. And so that was the biggest issue, was I just lacked systems. I didn't know how to, I knew how to do something for someone, but I just didn't know how to get the person to do it for and convince them that I knew what I was doing. And then I always knew that if I got them, I could show them. They'd never regret having me. But the problem was just getting to them. So just learning that aspect of business, and it was like, the first, like I was doing it, but it was so wishy-washy. Like I'd have one client, have him for a long time, and then by the end of the contract, they didn't come back. And then I got a new one. So it was always just picking up one client and then finishing them off and then the next one. So never getting anything consistent and carrying things on. And then luckily enough for me, I was on Instagram doom scrolling one time, and I see a little handsome face, as you know, as Joel. And just seeing another young person who was kind of in the same industry and was successful at it, it just piqued my interest. At first I just followed him. And then after reaching out and having that conversation, I realized, he has the systems. He knows the step-by-step process to get to where he's at because he did it. And so that's what I needed. That step-by-step process, that's what I needed. And so if he has it, he's probably the right person to talk to. And then before you know it, with a bit of mentorship, within that first month, it just completely transformed everything, not just financially, but the mindset, the understanding, the taking into account like how important the small things are when it comes into business. So yeah, it was big. Like, seemed impossible to seeing it possible is a big eye opener.
Yeah, bro. Fuck me, mate. I don't even think I need to ask you any more questions, bro. Mate, I think you've said it all.
There you go.
Mate, it's been crazy. And I want you to dive a little bit into, obviously, the transformation you're able to make, not just in the first month, but obviously what you've been able to do recently, bro, because that's fucking, bro, it's fucking crazy.
So, exciting information. The most exciting thing that happened was being able to travel. And so even before the big trip, which I'll explain a bit later, was I was able to fly to Sydney to film one of my clients doing overseas work, out of state work, and then going to Melbourne on a business that I didn't know was, I'll just cold call, cold reach out. And then I got to fly out to Melbourne and shoot an ad campaign. So just flying out of my city for work was already such a big thing. And then boom shakalaka, before you know it, we're going to Dubai. And then I ended up flying to Dubai with the client to film content. And yeah, it was huge because like the year before I went with family on a family trip. And then now next year I'm flying for business. So it was, that was a big eye-opener because you see it all the time online, people talking about being able to do stuff like that. So to finally experience it myself was huge.
Yeah, bro. Fucking hell. I really like that you said the year before you were traveling with your family and now you're traveling somewhere for business, because it literally only takes like that short a period of time to actually see such a massive transformation.
Yeah, literally, bro.
And yeah, I love that, bro. I love that. We'll dive into that a little bit later. But bro, like, how does it feel being in that position that you're actually able to, you know, travel around Australia and then also being able to travel to fucking Dubai, bro? Like, that's fucking crazy.
I think honestly it just like with everything, like the more you do, the more your understanding of everything grows. Your vision expands. Like what you thought was possible was here, and then all of a sudden when you do those big steps it just opens up and then you realize there's more possibility everywhere. But I think especially I've only been doing it for so long, and to see just it's not linear, it's just like zoot. I was like, oh, okay. So I wonder how much more can we get at, you know? And then to be honest, you make it the standard. Like especially traveling around Australia, like it's now the standard. What seemed so impossible and what seemed like kind of like completely dream-like scenarios is just become like this is what we have to do now to get things done. And so there's a maturity that comes in that, and like it allows you to have conversations with bigger clients and not like, you know, just be drooling at the idea of like, oh, they say something like, oh, I need you to travel to here. You wouldn't just be like some little kid that's like gets all super excited. No, you just be like, okay. And you can think with reason as well, because, you know, there's price and there's cost and everything that you do. So you wouldn't allow yourself to be taken advantage of, especially, you know, because you know your worth, and it's not something that you would allow yourself to get distracted by, I think. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, no, I love that, bro. I think that's been one of the biggest things that you've changed throughout the whole time that we've worked together. Like your mindset.
Yeah.
Like you've changed so much as a person, bro. Like even when we met in Melbourne, the time you came down, you just from then until like the first time we met, it was just, I feel like it was night and day difference of like just the way you thought about not just like projects, but just the way you also just like approached your everyday life.
Dude, literally, because with any type of business, doesn't matter your industry, if your mind isn't on track, if it's not working efficiently in your everyday life, then you can't just switch on something to make like your business work, right? It flows. Before you get to your business, you're at your house. And so when you're at your house, what are you doing? What is your lifestyle like? So, you know, as even the small things like doing your bed, like it may seem so irrelevant by itself, but when you realize everything, it works in a chain. And so everything you do from when you wake up till you get your business work going, like are you streamlining yourself? And so with that understanding, it's like there's going to be many walls, many issues, many problems that come in business, but a lot of it, 90%, like 99% of it, before you even get to the big problems, it's like because of little things that you haven't taken care of. So it's just an awakening in how important the small things are. In business, that's all it is, because every dollar matters. Because if every time you lose a dollar, like it eats at everything else. So I think with time, that's like the most important thing. Like don't let it go to waste, because every second you let go to waste, that's like a dollar that you're letting go by without realizing.
Yeah, mate, you're breaking this down extremely well, bro. You're breaking it down extremely well. I just want you to take it back. Like, how did we actually meet?
Like me and you personally?
Yeah.
I met Jack Boy when I got flown to Melbourne for the client work, and I was doing an interview with Joel and you, and I met you boys at the warehouse, the studio, for the first time. And I mean, like I was throwing jokes all around, you know. I think Jack can remember. I saw bro's jawline was looking stoic. But yeah, saw you guys at the studio, and then went out for lunch, and we played bowling, had some good fun. But that was my first time probably meeting you, and it was when I was getting flown out by a client. Like, you know, it was, I think the first time, if we're talking virtual, is when I saw you on call. Obviously seeing you and Joel, like having conversations with you guys was super important, because with everything, like communication from people who are in the same industry, that kind of community aspect is very important. You know, it gets pretty lonely when you're doing a business like this, because not everyone's doing it. And any type of industry, like not that many people are doing business in the same way you're trying to do it. And like, you know, the conversations aren't the same. With friends, you know, the things that you're having problems with at work is not the same with your friends. So just being able to meet you guys online and in person was such a blessing. And it's always good to see fellas, you know, good people wanting the best for each other. It's always a good time.
No, I agree with that, bro. I love what you said just about being around other people that are doing the same thing. Like, I feel like that's so important in our journey because, I mean, especially I had Joel coming up, but ultimately no one really related with what we were doing, bro. We didn't really have anyone else to talk to about anything that we're doing, which made it really difficult for us to even know how to progress forward with our own business. And it was really difficult, to be honest. It was really hard.
Dude.
But bro, talk to me. Like, I want to know the problems you were facing before you came to Melbourne and you got flown out from a client and you made it.
Made it. I'm not too sure if I made it, but there's definitely been a lot going on. When you don't have proper foundation, like it's not impossible, or like when you don't have proper foundation or proper systems, it's not impossible to get good jobs. You can get a job, you can get a bit of success, but the issue is when things fall off, you crash so hard. You got nothing to fall on, and so like it's such a stressful time because you've been pushing and you finally get something, and then now you think everything's changed, like how this was such amazing time. Like I got one client as my first client, that got on the full contract for 6 months, and it's gone amazing, and then all of a sudden I wasn't picking anyone up, but I was getting comfortable, I wasn't too bothered, the money's still coming in. And then the 6 months finish and they don't want to continue, and then boom, nothing. I don't have anything backed up. I got no system to like keep them in track. I had nothing else going for me, and then I'm right back where I started. So that's why the system aspect, it's a trampoline. You can bounce right back up after you fall down. But without the systems, it's just bare concrete, bro. Yeah. You just crash, and then it takes so much like energy to get back up again. So I think that's one of the important things, is the system is the foundation, is the trampoline that keeps you up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, bro. Do you feel like lead flow was then an issue on your end?
Before?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everything was an issue before. We could talk about it, bro. Like, I think, with that, when you can't expect people just to come to your door. It doesn't matter if you could have the best gear in the world, you could have the best videos in the world, but don't expect someone to come to you and want to give you their money. It's not how it works, right? So that's why, like, the lead, knowing how to handle like leads, like, you got to nurture it. It's considered like a baby. People are very easily like consider just like, they think it comes and goes, like, and you don't have to worry about it. But when you receive a lead, understand the system to even cultivate them into a client. Learning how to turn that, because it's clients in itself, it's not something you just want to like do once and then get rid of. You want to grow with them. You want to grow with them, and then ideally you help them, and then they're going to be happy to help you. They're going to be happy to give you the money. So it's just like with anything, like a friendship. Like, friendships don't just, like, a true friendship takes time. You got to really grow and nurture the friendship, the relationship. And so it's the same thing with business. So when a client does come your way, when a lead comes your way, you got to know how to handle it. And beforehand, it was just like whatever came my way, like randomly, and I didn't put any effort into it. It was amazing because I wasn't doing much and I could still kind of get something, but I always consider like, how much more can I get if I just did it properly, And so it was just, and as well, seeing you guys, Joe and Jack, you guys smash it online. Like, you don't just stop at posting videos. You guys go into the DMs, you got your automations on how to, and then bring them into the links, and then into the YouTube videos. So you got the funnel, right? And so that's how you nurture your leads. Still something I need to like really crack onto, but I think there's just a big difference between, even handling leads. Like, bro, the idea of like calling someone or going in person, my conversation was like straight noodles, bro. Just messy all over the place, bro. And then just with the basic, like, even like on call with Joel, like we do like scenario calls, and we did a few, but even with the small like practice sessions, like it just blew my mind to like realizing, oh, I actually don't know that much. I need a lot more to go. So yeah.
No, it's so true though. I reckon sales is such a big bottleneck for like so many creatives out there, bro. Because like their work, like they think their work's going to sell itself, but when they actually try and sell their work to a client, and like then try and offer a return and an outcome, they trip up. They actually trip up. They don't know what to offer because they've never actually been taught the sales side of things. And I think that's such a big problem for so many people out there. I think so, and it's also a really good skill to have. Like not even like just for life. So being able to sell what we're doing is crucial, bro. It's crucial. How frustrating did it feel in that situation where you were struggling to get clients?
Oh, bro.
Bro, like you looked outside like, damn.
I'm looking at the trees and birds, bro, wishing I was one of them, bro. Honestly, I didn't want to be in any other scenario, you know.
Bro, I want to be a bird.
I want to fly away, be free, bro. Look, with anything that is good, it won't just land in your lap. And even if it does, it's not going to stay for very long unless you know how to handle it. So with clients, it really is like the first 80% is just like if you just have to go out your way and push through. You know, I always tell people, you go to 100 cafes and you shout them your offer, I reckon at least 5 of them will say yes. And then if you're charging them 1K or 2K per month, then that's 5 to 10K right there. So it is just pushing through, at least in the beginning. And then you have to learn how to be efficient with your effort, you know, because you don't have to go visit 100 cafes. You can call, you can email, and then you can systemize yourself so that with the same effort, you're reaching out like 10 times more clients. So for me, I realized everyone needs marketing. You could be any type of business because especially nowadays, everything's through social media. Like you go looking for a cafe, you don't go on Google anymore, you go on TikTok. So for restaurants, it's so important, you know, they themselves need to understand that, you know, this is the future and then they need to invest in this. If they invest in this, they get the return.
Yeah, I love your just like positioning change that you like. It's all about socials, boys, and obviously like that's a big part about what you do. Like you're like solely just social media growth focused, but I think that's honestly such a great just area to be in, bro. Like it's niche, it's easy, and like you know what the outcome's gonna be, and that's honestly like what you need to do in this industry. Like you can't be flip flopping around in a whole bunch of different things because you know when you're trying to target everyone, you're targeting no one. And like, once again, I say that all the time, bro. Like so many people are just trying to target all these different niches. They don't actually know what they're doing. And then they find that it's difficult to actually get clients. And it's because they don't actually know who they're speaking to. So what got you to join Shadi?
Everything, with all the opportunity that's all around us, you know. For me, I've always been a creative guy. I've always loved capturing content, making videos, and, you know, especially using social media. I've been doing it since I was like grade 8. I was making like car pages before it was a trend. And so it was something that I knew how to do. You know, I'm not too great at everything, but at social media and making videos and capturing the moment, I'm pretty good at that. And so I just wanted to, you know, benefit off what my skills. For so long, I've been making content and for myself and like for a few friends. And like, you know, the idea of making money, it wasn't even realistic in my head. Like especially there was one friend here at a volleyball club and I was like helping out with making a TikTok, you know. My friend was one of the coaches, so I was always there anyway. And I was just there making content and then bro, like it was blowing up. This is back in like 2021. And dude, the TikToks were getting millions of views, and all the kids were like at the volleyball club were getting so hyped. Dude, the volleyball club itself was expanding at such a rate. So many people were coming and signing up because of TikTok. And bro, at this time, I just didn't realize it had this power. And like, bro, I was thinking like I could get paid from this. And you know me, back then didn't understand my value, didn't understand any of that. But he put me in a contract for $25 a week.
Wow, fuck it. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so, like...
You know, I was just doing it for free anyway. I was just doing it for fun, and then he was paying me, and I was like, wait, this is great. There's barely anything. And so, as I continued on, like, you know, after the years, and I didn't really do many paid jobs after that, there was one that landed, someone just reached out to me, like, I have a business, can you do socials? Because I know you can do it well.
Yeah.
And then that was my first time getting paid like decent money. And then so I was like, oh, okay, so there's so much more to this. Like, I don't have to just be some famous person to make money. Like, I can help someone with a regular business and make money off it. And so tying that into why I actually joined was, like I mentioned, the systems are so necessary in any type of industry, but as well for videography. Videography is one of them things where it's always like frowned upon in terms of like how legit it is. Like, people will pay someone $100 to do like a full day shoot. Like, and that's just, he's the videography guy. They're not very held to a high standard. And so, like, I want to break that. Break that like, what's the word?
Limiting belief.
Yeah, that belief that it's worth that much. To break the belief that a video guy is worth $100 a day is, it's disgusting, bro. So trying to get rid of that, and so to be in a community who thinks the same and like has that same goal, it's like having community is so important. Like you uplift each other in ways that you can't do by yourself. You can get pretty far by yourself, but you can get like so much further when you have the right people around you. And so having people with the systems, having people with the same goal, the same mindset, and just a good group of people who like want to see each other win, especially in this industry, it's very, very, especially in Australia, it's very, very, how do I say, competitive. And it's not that it's wrong to be competitive, but no one wants to help each other, No one wants to see someone else win. So, tall poppy syndrome, what they say in Australia, yeah? So yeah, like with all things, it's just a great space, a space that pushes for success, a space that pushes for like true support, and clarity in an industry that's very clouded. So
yeah, I love that, bro. I mean, even on the group call this morning, like I loved your input that you were just like giving your 2 cents about the conversation we're having about your videos blowing up with I don't even know, was like a restaurant or something that you filmed. Like that's so valuable, bro. Like everyone can also just like give their 2 cents on like what's working with them, what's not working. I mean, it means we all grow together, which is ultimately the best part.
Literally, it's like a family, bro. So
yeah, bro, I love it. And like, what was your first impression when you did join?
When I joined, it was like a big breaking point in my mindset because I've never been on like paying for some type of mentorship / community. I've just never been on that. And so I was like, money for me is like not something I'd be throwing away. So, it's like, I was really wishing for it to make the difference. And like, it was a leap of faith. And I took that leap and it definitely did what I thought it was going to do plus 100-fold, It was just so much more. And it's growing in the right direction. Like, just to be, like you mentioned, this morning we were on a call and to have a group of young business-minded videographers who just are on the same, same goal, same path. I felt like it was amazing, and like I almost feel like an older brother, not that I'm like that much older than anyone here, but to just give my 2 cents and the fact that it can help someone else in one way and the vice versa. Like someone will say something that helps me wake up or rethink the way I think about things. So it iron sharpens iron, bro. So that's definitely what the community does. And so, yeah, like very happy I took that step forward, breaking that mindset. And like, you don't have to be by yourself. Being by yourself, there's time and place for everything. There's time and place for community and time and place for the individual time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, bro. And I think especially when everyone's in different niches and verticals with the exact same industry that we are in, it also helps with bouncing ideas off each other because everyone also has different insights into what they're doing. Like, for example, you got Nelson over in Perth that's in the real estate sort of game. You're obviously just in the like social media business growth sort of game. And so we're all still running the same race, but we're not doing it like competitively against each other. We're all working together towards the same goal. And I think that's honestly the best part about it, bro. And so like
Literally, bro.
working towards the same goal. Like, bro, I just want you to tell me, like, what were the results in the first, say, 4 weeks?
So that famous first month went into it, you know. Yeah, man, the famous 4 weeks. Went into it like, just after that first proper call, and we had a conversation about like, the first call was so basic in the way and the things that we were proving, from just uniform, like, I didn't even have this beforehand. The changing the bio, setting up the system like in the Notions and stuff like that. And then it was after that was set up, go, take the first step. That's what you said, yeah. And then we took that first step, and then before you know it, bro, I 4x'd it from whatever.
You remember the numbers?
Yeah, it was what we were sitting at, like a very comfortable like 4K per month, and that was, for me, was like a lot. And then you just 4x it, and then now we're doing 15 to 16K, and I was just like, hold on, like let's let's. I don't think this is possible, bro. And so,
Hold up. I'm gonna have to pay a lot more tax now.
I gotta pay tax now, bro. That's what it was, man. So yeah, that first month like just blew my mind. In terms of like it was crazy in how quick it happened, and I was a bit shook by it. But yeah, to see the payments actually go through and actually needing to send an invoice more than once a month was like, that was a big.
Yeah, nah, I love that, bro. I love that. And I mean, how did it feel? Like, actually run me through just the emotions you were feeling after that first month, bro, because that's pretty fucking crazy for like those results to happen so quick.
Yeah. I think it was big because the year before, like, I had a high ticket client, but I never thought I could even get past that, like it was like 8K, and I just didn't think that there was anything more than that. And then, starting to the new year, and then we're back at like pretty much zero, then find the one client. Yeah, like it was just, okay, it is possible, it's just, I just need to build the momentum. And then as I keep going, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make good decisions, and then just clean up myself. And then, you can keep going, bro. Because with anything, there's someone out there who has half the gear you have, maybe half the skills and how to make a video look good, but he's probably making double, or quadruple. And, with everything, it just needs time. It's all not feeling the need to rush the process. Because, before that first month, there was like a year and a half of just pretty much nothing. So, like, I think it's the result of hard work. Even if it happened in the first month or third month or the first year, whatever it is, the fact that it happened it's a motivator. But like, I think it was just, I think, like with anything, it's an eye opener. You're just expanding your vision, expanding, and as well, the money doesn't become the priority as much. With business, bro, it's not just about money. Like you kind of learn that, because you can get money anyway. I mean, if you want to make 100K, you can go get a job. That's 10K a month. So, like it's, I mean, the 10K a month, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money. It's good money, but it allows you to look past the money, because sometimes you hyper focus on money, and then that in itself can like be a negative at times, because attention needs to be evenly how it says, your attention should be like evenly placed throughout the business. There's the financial side, there's your structural side, and I know money flows into everything, but like it's a balance with everything. So I was able to like mature a bit in terms. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. It allowed me to mature, past the excitement of 10K, and then realize, okay, if 10K is possible, what's next? Because before 10K, I didn't see it. I just didn't see it in my head as a number to touch. You see people online saying, I made 10K a month, and you just think, whoa, that's crazy. And then you do it yourself, and then it's like, okay, so what's next? So yeah.
No, we're always wanting more as humans, bro. But I think it's just, like always pushing yourself to be the best, but also at the same time, having a bigger purpose that's not just the goal of money. Like, bro, even just another goal is to be able to travel for work and do what we do. Like touching back on the Dubai point again, like I doubt a year ago you thought you were going to be flying out to Dubai being able to film content, bro, in front of the Burj Khalifa. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no way, bro. No way. But it found a way. So
Yeah, well, everything happens for a reason, bro. And obviously, with the right inputs and when you just do the right things, like I honestly believe that everything will happen for a reason. And obviously, you took the chance, like you invested in us, and then like all these things just started to snowball. And I think it's just when you put your energy and effort into the right places and doing the right things in order to grow your business, like whether that's getting a mentor, whether that's posting content, like whatever it may be, like if you know that you're working towards the goal and putting in the correct inputs, like it's only a matter of time. Like it's not if, it's then when. So, bro, what do you reckon the biggest problem that we solved was?
the biggest problem was definitely I have a lack of accountability for myself. I yeah. So having someone there to keep me accountable and also understanding like knowing that their intentions are you know for my best from knowing that they truly want the best for me, that was a big thing. So it's like it gives you another thing to be responsible for. Even though there is money involved, just having someone to keep me accountable. Everyone has the different struggles, but for me, it was definitely accountability. And so, I mean, you guys helped me solve so many different things. Like just like there's the mindset aspect, there's the business, like the fundamentals. Like, bro, like I'm gonna repeat again. I didn't have a uniform before I met you guys. I was going into client shoots with just a black shirt, not understanding that it's these little things as they add up. It has a big effect to your business and how you're perceived, because everything matters in this game. So, but having that accountability, having someone there to who also understands, because the issues here are very different to the issues in the next industry. So, for me personally, yeah, it was definitely the accountability aspect and knowing that, I can do it if I put my mind to it. I just needed that push, so definitely there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was, bro. And I think you summed it up perfectly. Like just having that push and having that accountability to take everything to the next step, because you already knew you could create videos that converted, bro. So it was really just dialing in like the actual like systems to bring in more clients, and then ultimately communication with your current clients, and then also the sales side of things. Like that's pretty much what it was to be able to ultimately take your business to the next level in just those 4 weeks. Like it didn't need to take too long, because you already knew what you needed to do, but it was just getting that validation of knowing exactly what you needed to do, and just having someone say, bro, like do these things, do this, all right, go. And that's exactly what you did, bro.
Literally.
Yeah. And you took it on board extremely well. What do you reckon was different about this though? Like, because obviously you tried to solve these problems before. Like, what was different?
I think because there's a set expectation, especially having you guys keep me accountable and everything. But then as well, like when you have someone doing better than you, it really does push you in a different kind of way. Like, I didn't really have too many people around me who were in the same industry. I had like maybe 1 or 2, and they themselves were, maybe doing it at the same level that I was. So, we try to help each other, but, you can't help someone get to somewhere you're not. But then it came to when having you guys, and you guys are proper big dogs, in this industry. And so, like, it was a push that had the authority behind it. And then, yeah, like, it really just, it's like you gotta humble yourself a bit and realize, like, oh, this person actually knows what they're talking about. Like, go and do your thing, because they're not doing this to make you fail. They're doing this, if they see it, if they see that it's possible, if they see the up in it, then you should just trust it and move forward, because they've got to where you want to try to get to. So, yeah, I think that authority aspect, being able to talk to someone who's actually successful in it, and like, yeah, just even it carries into the community, because like I'm not even the biggest earner. There's people in that community making 25K to 30K a month, and I'm just like, okay, so like, I've done well, but man, there's people really kicking it, and I think that brings a push like no other.
No, I love that, bro. I love that. But yeah, I definitely think the accountability just took you to a whole new level. I think you just needed the accountability side of things too, to just have that push. And I think honestly the community did help you in that aspect as well. Like when you're around people that are doing bigger numbers than you, you're in a position thinking, shit, like I'm the small fish in a big pond. I need to fucking do something about my situation. And I think that's the exact push you needed, bro. I think it was the exact push you needed. If you didn't join, where do you think you would be?
Probably stop doing it.
You reckon?
Yeah, like, probably stop doing it, or just be like one client at a time, making like, 3K, 4K a month. But yeah, like, so with some things, maybe I would have been able to get to, 10K, 15K a month, but it would have cost me so much time, which your mentorship has saved me from, because like, I was doing it for a year and a bit before that. And before then I was, like I mentioned, from $25 a week, and then getting to that 4K a month, like I got there, but it took me so much time. So I'm guessing, for me to get to learn all the nitty gritty, like I could have definitely pushed through, but it would have cost me probably double the time. So maybe 4 years or whatever, just to even get to that 10K a month. I think that's the big thing with mentorship, is you're benefiting on their experience. You went through the ups and downs. You went through the, half a decade of like learning the business, going through the mistakes and stuff, for my benefit. That's what mentorship is. You saving me time, because you'll be able to tell me where the trap is before I get there. So I can, when I do get to that point, I can move around it with the smart move. So I think, like if I wasn't there, if I was still doing it, probably be still struggling. I think that's with anything, right? Because it does get pretty, how do I say, frustrating, or it does burn you out, especially when you keep doing something, keep doing it. And especially when it just makes so much sense in your head for you to succeed, but you're not. And then, at one point you'll like, you'll give up. You might keep going, but you give in. So, or take a big rest, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. And yeah, I think, you really just did need that push from us. And then, I didn't actually think you'd want to quit, bro. But that kind of just goes to show, like, just having the right people around you as well want to keep pushing you further, I think is such a good place to be in. All right, bro, I want you to touch on a little bit about the vision for the next year, and also just your recent trip to Dubai, bro.
Dubai, like, look, it was definitely a really good time. Like, especially with my client, he is in the watch industry, so we got to really see the glamorous part of Dubai. We got to stay on the Palm, and so we stayed in the villa there. That was just a crazy experience. And then, switched to a crib next to the Burj. So yeah, I got to properly experience Dubai for what it had, and got to meet a lot of cool people. Met a lot of dealers, watch dealers out in Dubai itself. So I think it was just getting to see that, like, anything is possible, right? When you put your mind to it. And you realize people really like to, how do I say this? To like overly glaze certain things, right? And so, like, Dubai is a crazy place, but I think what I'm trying to get at is when you go to places, you kind of mature with it. Like, when you're a kid, you see a Lambo and it's like the craziest thing ever, and I'm sure you can agree with this. But then when you start working around them, it's just a car. It's a really cool car, but it's like there's a shift in like your mentality, because that used to be the dream, and now you're looking, and then once you've experienced it, you're looking past it now, So I think that was the thing with Dubai, was like just keep growing and keep maturing. Like, money isn't everything, and so, like, Dubai, I'm cool off Dubai, bro. I don't need to go to Dubai for a long time. I got the full experience. I finished the game, so we did not. But Dubai was definitely, thank the Lord, bro, that I got to experience that, because that's definitely like a dream for a lot of people. Like, it 100% is.
Bro, I feel like for any, content creator out there, videographer, filmmaker, being able to fly around the world and do what we love is ultimate, like that is the dream. That's what you have on vision boards, bro. That's what you see like on your wallpaper, like Burj Khalifa. You got the city skyline in it. Like that's literally the dream. And so like you being able to, I guess, live that childhood dream is, yeah, crazy, bro. Like it's so cool. It's so cool. But yeah, what's the vision for the next year then, bro? What would you say for 2026? What is the vision?
I would say is refinement. I think definitely with anything, if you want to scale, people kind of they want to rush into like just getting like 20 clients and getting like, $50,000 a month. But I realize with this, it's an endurance game. Like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So I want to refine my systems, my time usage. Because if you can cut down half the time you spend on a client, then you can get another client and use that same amount of time. So I think having 10 clients is cool, but you can have 10 clients and you can be working 60 hours a week. And I mean, look, if that's your way, but then if there was a way to have 10 clients and only work 10 hours a week, that's where the money is, because money is time. So with anything, like I mentioned, like, bro, there are people who make like 10K a month working at like, wherever it is, some normal warehouse job, but they are grinding, 60 hours. So then what's the difference between you and a warehouse worker? You know what I mean? So it's the time that you save that makes the difference. So yeah, like, even if it is like learning how to change my 15K that takes me 30 hours to be only 10 hours, that is refinement and that's where I want to go, because as you refine, you give yourself more time, you can get more clients, which then more money. So
yeah, no, actually I love that explanation, bro. I think you explained that really well. Like, I mean, the whole goal is to work less and make more. And like as someone running a business, like you're almost trying to, like, especially like as your own like founder, you're trying to wear every single hat in your business. But I think the time that you're actually able to just step away from that and think about certain tasks that you can actually use as leverage, rather than I need to go to this job, I need to do this edit. Like when you're actually able to step away from that, build systems around it, it actually gives you the upper hand, because then you know exactly what you need to work on moving forward without having to think about a million different things at once.
For sure.
And so yeah, I think that's a really good goal to have, bro. I think that's a really good goal. What would you say to someone who was stuck in the same spot as where you were?
I mean, if you want change, you got to change. So it's very, very simple, bro. Like people, and this is the same thing for me. I wanted a different situation, but I wasn't willing to change my behavior, my mindset, the way I handled myself. So, especially if you're in this industry, you need to become efficient in everything you do, inside business, outside business. And with that, that's a call for a mindset change. And yeah, like, especially it's hard when you're by yourself, especially when you're by yourself and you get kicked down and, you lose everything, especially if you lose all your clients, you think it's the end of the world. So having others around you, like we mentioned, on that same path, the same race, we could be in kind of different niches, but all heading towards the same goal, wanting to grow in the video industry. Having community is super important, with anything. Like, I always say, like, there's two ways to train, for a soccer player. He trains by himself and with the team. And both are very beneficial, you need to be sharpening your own skills in your own time. That builds the endurance, that strength. But when you come in the team aspect, you can uplift each other in a way like you never thought was possible. So I think that's the biggest thing with this community is like I mentioned, like, I might be making all right cash, but there's someone making me double mine, and then there's someone who's making like half of what I'm making. So but it's such a humble environment where everyone gets to grow, regardless of where you're at. And that is so necessary, especially if you're stuck, bro. You're going to be in your mind all day long. And if you're in there for long enough, if you don't go the right way, you're not going to do anything. You're going to stop. So I think learning yourself and what your goals are is what you need to, take time to actually figure out where you're going to go. Don't just do it for the money, because when the money goes, what are you going to do? You're going to stop. But then at top of that is have a community of people to push you, because sometimes we're not strong enough for ourselves. But you know, when you have people there to keep you accountable, who understand what you're going through in an industry where there's not that many other people, especially here in Australia, it is the secret to success. So yeah, I'll definitely say to them, get on top of it, because this is the future. So
I love your analogy, bro, about the soccer team. No, it's actually good. I mean, I feel like that sums it up so well. Like, you can be running your own race and your own journey, but you don't really have anyone to actually talk about maybe the struggles that you're facing, the way you can't like kick the ball properly, and so like how are you actually going to get around people that know how to kick the ball properly? Like, I think that was a big thing for you, and yeah, that was actually a really cool analogy, bro. If anyone was thinking about joining, what would you say to them?
I would say it may seem like a risk in your mind, but I promise you, once you take that leap of faith, you're gonna wish you took it earlier. Bro, it's just, I'm not gonna fluff around too much. Like, bro, it's a community of people who are on the path for success, and we all need pushing. We all need a breakthrough in our mindset. So I would just say, get into it, because there's an amazing group of people. Everyone's here for each other. Genuinely, in such a toxic industry, especially in Australia, it's like a breath of fresh air. And I'm sure not just me, but so many other people in the community can say itself. Yeah, like it may seem like a risk in your mind, but I promise you, it's gonna be such an obvious decision once you've made it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. That means a lot. And I just honestly want to finish this off, bro, by saying like, good shit. You've done really well, and you're progressing so much. And I just love being able to see your results, bro. Being able to fucking like fly around the world, come down here to Melbourne, go to Sydney. Like, so many opportunities and so many doors have opened just from you being a part of this amazing community that we're building, and all the systems and everything that we've got in place. I think everything's just come together and aligned so well, and I think that's why you've been able to achieve such amazing results, because you've taken everything that we've set on board and just said, like, I just gotta fucking do it. I just gotta do everything that the boys told me to do, because this is what I paid for in a way. And I think that was a really good mindset to have. And so yeah, I'm proud of you, bro. You've done really well, and I'm really keen to see where you progress over 2026 as well. I think this is going to be a big year of growth now. I feel like 2025 was a year of learning, and I think this is going to be a huge year where you grow into, working less, making more, taking on more clients, and yeah, ultimately even just building a team now, bro, bringing in more people. I think that's going to be the next steps for you for sure. And I think we're definitely putting all the odds in your favor to, get to that outcome.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Jack. You've done a lot for me, and I'll just say last thing is, bro, if I can do it, whoever's watching this, you can do 10x what I'm doing. Like, honestly, like let me just be an example, that if you take the leap of faith, you can get there. And bro, you can, like, everyone's on this, it's not about being better than each other, but like, I can tell you this, it's whoever's the hungriest, whoever's hungry. If you're hungry, you'll get it. That's all it is.
I love that, bro. I love that. And yeah, it's so true. I mean, like, use everyone as examples that it can be done. I think that's such a big thing just in life as well. Like, if someone else has done it, it means it's possible. And so why not achieve that? Like, why not do that for yourself? So yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. But I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you hopping on. I appreciate your time. And yeah, it was good chatting about the whole story, bro. I feel like it's been crazy, and I think this is honestly just the beginning.
Much appreciated, Jack, for the opportunity. You boys have done so much for me, and you're doing so much for so many others. You're really changing the game, changing the industry, especially here in Australia. 2026, bro, is your year. So I'm keen to see where you go to, what you get at, because, bro, I'm trying to see you in a Ferrari this year, bro. You've been recording Ferraris. I need to see you in a Ferrari.
Nah, I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for hopping on, bro. We'll speak soon, all right?
No worries, bro.
Catch ya, bro. Catch ya.